Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of ADMAIL. This is Adam Bergman, founder and CEO of IRA Financial. I'm here to help you find the answers to the most frequently asked questions from my clients about self-directed retirement accounts. If you want to learn more, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Just search IRA Financial. Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of ADMAIL. I'm Adam Bergman, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. On today's episode, 3 wonderful questions. Of course, I always have 3 great questions for you. Today's podcast, one will be on C Corp blockers, which is a hot topic. Second one will be the ability to make Roth contributions if you have access to a 401k at work. And the third is expensing or paying for option classes using IRA funds. So really fun-packed episode for all of you. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And let's get down to business. First questions from Robert T. of Chan, Wyoming. And Roger wants to know, I have a Roth IRA and will be investing in a business set up as an LLC. Probably have UBTI. Does it make sense to set up a blocker C Corp? Now, great question, Roger. And I actually spoke to Roger about this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. So I actually wanted to include this question because it's a really good one. And Roger basically wanted to know, does it make sense to use a C Corp blocker? So what's a C Corp blocker? C Corp blocker is essentially a corporation, a C Corp, used to block the application of the UBTI tax. The UBTI maximum tax rate in 2022 is 37%. And UBTI is triggered in 3 instances. 1, use margin to buy stock. 2, a non-recourse loan to buy real estate in an IRA. There is an exception for non-recourse leverage used in a solo 401k, no UBTI. And thirdly, if you invest in an active trader business through an LLC, which is what Roger's doing. So as I mentioned, the maximum UBTI tax rate, 37%, and it gets triggered at a very low rate, approximately $15,000 to $16,000 bucks. So the question is it worth setting up a C Corp blocker? The C Corp federal tax rate is 21%, which is lower than 37%, but some states also do have a state corporate tax rate. Like Florida has a intangible tax of 3 or so percent on top of the federal 21% tax. So the idea is you're going to be saving, let's say, maximum 16%, but maybe anywhere from 10 to 16%, depending on the state. So if you are going to generate only $5,000 to $10,000 in net income, your maximum UBTI tax rate will be less than 37%. It may only be 20 or 25%, meaning the C Corp blocker really doesn't make a lot of sense, Roger. But if you think you're going to have $100,000 in net income associated with the UBTI use, then obviously $100,000, 16 or so percent on 100,000 bucks, 16,000 bucks is real money. Okay, even though the C Corp blocker does not eliminate the UBTI tax, it minimizes it, shrinks it down from 37 to at least 21%. Now, if you are investing in a hedge fund, private equity fund, directly or through a platform, crowdfunding platform, investment platform, some of these investment options have the ability to use foreign blockers, meaning a Cayman Island blocker, which will reduce, in most cases, the corporate tax to 0. So you'll there be going from 37 to 0, which obviously is a no-brainer. Unfortunately, not all investment funds have foreign blockers set up. It's generally the larger ones. Okay, so something to ask about, and they'll probably tell you if they see you're investing through an IRA or 401k. But if you're just investing in a buddy's business, say a local flower shop in Wyoming, and you're going to generate, let's say, 50, 75,000 plus of annual income, then you may want to consider the C Corp blocker, Roger. But if you're going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 grand, it may not be worth it because the tax savings, 15% on 20 grand, you're going to save 2, 3 grand. It just may not be worth the setup and the costs, which isn't substantial, but it's still, is it worth it for $1,000 bucks or so a year? Some people would say, of course, and others would say, for $1,000 bucks, I'm not going to deal with it. But also there is an advantage of not filing a 990T, but you still have to file a C Corp tax return 1120, which still generally requires you to use a CPA. So In sum, if your income is going to be 50,000 more plus annually, the C Corp blocker probably makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, it's just going to be a question of what you want to do. No really right or wrong. Second question is from Juliet L. of Irving, Texas. And Juliet wants to know, I set up a self-directed IRA with IRA Financial a few months ago to trade options. Well, welcome aboard, Juliet. Can I use my IRA to pay for an online class on options so I can be a better trader? The answer is probably. So I always tell people, be cautious when you are looking to use your IRA to pay expenses. So clearly, if you're going to be paying for property taxes associated with your real estate investment owned by the IRA, clearly you have to use IRA funds, right? Same with improvements, paying a contractor to fix a fence or a swimming pool on your IRA and property. You have to use IRA funds. But when it gets to like travel or any expenses related to something that could also benefit you personally, you have to be a little bit cautious. Now, if you can show, Juliet, that the course will be used to exclusively benefit your IRA, meaning you don't do option trading on your own, the only time you're going to be doing option trading is with your IRA, then I think it's doable. Okay, but be careful. If it's an online class, great. If you got to travel to Vegas, be cautious, because then you really have to prove that there has not been any personal benefit, meaning you didn't stay in Vegas an extra night or do any fun gambling. It's more difficult and a little bit more risky versus just taking an online class if you can show exclusively that the class is going to be used to benefit your IRA. But if you also do tons of option trading on your own, you're going to use the class to help you both ways, just pay for it personally. Okay, this way you pay for it personally, it has nothing to do with your IRA, and then you get that knowledge byproduct of paying for it personally, and then you can use it to invest your IRA. But if you can show exclusively that, hey, I'm only going to be doing option trading. I've had clients do this for tax liens in the past. If you can show, hey, I'm only going to use this class for tax liens, then yeah, go ahead and pay for it with your IRA, especially if it's online. If there's travel involved, be cautious. Rent a car, fly, hang out in Vegas for a few extra days, go for fancy meals, buy yourself a nice outfit or something. Be careful. It's probably not wise. But if it's an online class and you can show it's exclusively going to benefit your IRA, then I think, Juliet, you're good to go. Third and final questions from YouTube, and it is as follows. If I make contributions to a solo 401k plan, can I still make contributions to a Roth IRA in the same year? The answer is maybe. Don't you hate that answer? I hate when lawyers tell me that. But it's true. Why? Because it depends on your income. So in 2022, if you married, filed jointly, and you make more than 214K, 144 if you're single, you can't do a Roth IRA. So you're not going to be able to do it. But there's always a but. Lawyers love buts. But there's something called a backdoor Roth IRA, and it is still legal in 2022. So even if you make $1 million or $10 million a year, and even if you max out your 401k, you can still do a backdoor Roth IRA. It means that you just make an after-tax IRA contribution, $6,000 up to $6,000 if you're under 50, $7,000 if you're over 50, and then convert those funds from after-tax to Roth, since there is no income on that after-tax contribution. It's not pre-tax, it's after-tax. There's no tax on the conversion, and now you've just got yourself a Roth IRA, even if you make more than that 144 if you're single and 214 if you're married, filed jointly. One thing to be aware of is if you have other pre-tax IRAs from previous years, other rollovers, pre-tax IRAs, you may not be able to convert the entire amount. There's a pro rata formula. Okay, so for example, if you had a $5,000 IRA from 2016 that's just hanging around there, it's worth 5K now, and you want to do a backdoor Roth IRA of 5K in 2022, because you have a pre-tax IRA of 5 divided by 10 is 50%. So 50% of the $5,000 you want to backdoor in 2022 will be Roth. The rest will stay in after tax, and you'll have to kind of convert it in later years or ultimately pay tax on that conversion. So just be cautious of that pro rata. But the answer is yes and no. So technically on its face, you can if you make more than 214, but because of the backdoor Roth IRA rules, you can still do a Roth IRA, even if you have access to a 401k at work, or you max out your 401k, you still can do a Roth through the backdoor Roth, irrespective of your income level. Now, the rules for Roth are different than pre-tax. If you have access to a 401k at work, even if you don't make a contribution, depending on your income level, if it's above about 120 or so thousand, you may not be able to make a 401k IRA, pre-tax contributions, even if you just have access without any contributions to the 401k. But the Roth rules are different. If you have access to a 401k at work through the backdoor Roth IRA, even if you make more than 214, you can still do Roth IRA contributions for 2022. So there is another ADMAIL in the bag. So thank you everyone for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you as well. Do not forget to subscribe. Our YouTube channel is filled with amazing content. We drop 3 podcasts and 3 to 4 videos a week, plus a YouTube live, which I generally do every Wednesday at 12 Eastern Standard. And if you subscribe, you'll be notified when I go live or when new videos or podcasts are dropped. So check it out. It's free. It's great content. I really put a lot of effort in. I'm really proud of the content. If you are interested in learning about self-directed IRAs, 401ks, using your retirement funds to diversify, invest in alternative assets, or just interested in tax strategies involving retirement accounts, you're going to love the channel. And obviously, if you have comments, questions, advice, anything, let us know. Love to hear from you. You can email us at info@irafinancial.com. You can hit us up on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, IRA Financial, the IRA Financial, and we will get back to you with our thoughts. So much appreciated. Thanks again for listening. And you can check out all our podcasts and pick them up anywhere you listen to your podcast. So take care. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks for spending some time with me today. Take care.